All right, so in last lecture, we created a custom producer. Now let's create a custom consumer, okay? And again, the drill is same. You open the IntelliJ or Eclipse or any other editor that you like and create a new project, okay? By clicking on File, New Project. Then select the Maven and make sure that project SDK is 1.8. Go to Next. Give the group ID and artifact ID names. Okay, something like that. And the project name and the location where project will be stored. So I already have this created, so I'm gonna cancel it, but you can go and finish it. So now I have the project, and here under source, you'll go to main, Java, and create a package by right clicking, select new and package. So here give a package name. So I have DataShark Academy.Kafka. Okay. So since I already have this here, that's why it's giving me error, but you can create something like this. And then under this package, right click, new, and create a Java class. Okay. And that's what it will look like. Okay. So I have the code here. Before I go over this, let me quickly show you the POM file. So this is more or less same as what we had for Kafka producer. The only difference is that the artifact ID is now Kafka custom consumer instead of custom producer. Okay, and this dependency is also same, and this build will have the main class changed to the Kafka auto consumer. That's what we are going to create now. Okay, so I go to the main class now, and here the first thing again we are taking two parameters as input from the user, topic and server name. Then we are creating a properties object, and we are defining a couple of properties here. And you can look up all available properties for Kafka consumers at this URL. So let me open it. So we are under consumer configs, and here you can see all different kinds of properties that are available. But for this simple example, we don't need to use all of these, but for real production application based on your use case, you might need to use some properties. So make sure that you go through them at least once. Okay, so going back to our code. So the first property that I need to set is the bootstrap servers. And here again, this is my sandbox at 9092. So the reason I have chosen to take it as an input from the user, the server name, because I want it to run on the local host as well as on the SDP sandbox. Okay. Then the group ID. So I'm creating a group ID for this set of consumers. So I can have multiple consumer instances running at the same time. I don't need to write a new code or new class for it. I will rerun the same program in a different terminal. Okay. And all my consumers will be part of this group. Then I'm defining enable auto commit, which is true, commit interval milliseconds. And finally, we have key serializer and value serializers. And I also want to read the earliest records. Okay, yeah, this has another value of latest. So either one of these values you can use. So once you have set these properties, the next step is to create an object of Kafka consumer, and you define what will be the types of your key and value. So in this case, we are using string and string, and properties will be passed as the input parameter. All right. So this will create a consumer object. So next we need to subscribe this consumer to a topic that is given by the user. Okay. And that's what we are doing here. Then the rest is very simple. We are reading each and every record from that topic and just formatting into a way that we can display on the screen. Okay. So here we are not closing the consumer intentionally because I want to keep it up and running so we can send multiple messages from the producer. All right, so once you have this code ready, go ahead and build it by clicking on the build artifacts, and choose your jar and build. So here again our code is getting built, so give it few seconds. All right, so it looks like the build is complete. Okay, so next step is to check if the jar file is created, and you can do that by going into out directory, and here you see the jar file. Okay, now let's run this on the terminal, and before you run it on the terminal, make sure your Kafka server and Zookeeper are running. All right, so let's go to the consumer tab. So if you're using MobaXterm, you can upload your jar to this sandbox by clicking on the up arrow here and going to the location where your project is. Go to custom consumer, out, artifacts, Kafka consumer jar, and jar file. So you'll see the jars loaded here. Okay, now we can run this by typing java jar and your jar name and the topic name. So topic will take from the previous exercise, which is auto topic, and the server also from here. Okay, so as you see, it is reading messages from the previous publishing that we did, but let's try to send some more messages from the producer. Okay, so let's run this again. So it will publish another 10 messages. Let's see on the consumer side. So again, you see some duplicate messages are published here. Okay, now the interesting thing here is that the offset ID. Okay, so offset ID is changing, and since we have two partitions, so that's why you see duplicate offset IDs, because this is reading from multiple partitions. Okay, but the main thing is that you were able to produce messages using a custom producer and consume using a custom consumer. Okay, so try this out on your end. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll see you in the next class.